No Eid while Gaza has no Eid. Bisan Rami al Bassus is a 10-year-old who was loved by everyone. Her teacher shared that she was the class's favorite. She was always happy and had a loving personality. Bisan and her family fled home to a safe spot when the area they were in was heavily bombed by the IOF, and Bisan was killed instantly on November 30th, 2023.
Rami, a 12-year-old boy from Shafat refugee camp in Jerusalem. Yesterday evening, March 13, which is the second day of Ramadan, he had his iftar before joining his friends to perform Tarweeh prayer. Upon returning home, he asked for some money from his mother to buy sweets. Not long after, the sound of gunfire rang out. Rami was playing in the yard when an Israeli soldier shot him, fearing the sound of the fireworks. Rami was just a kid who wanted to play with fireworks with his friends, but the brutal Israeli soldier continues to target every Palestinian, regardless of age or location.
Baby Heba Ziadeh lived a very short life during horrific times. Baby Heba starved to death due to a lack of formula in North Gaza.
When the formula finally arrived, baby Hiba has already passed away on March 1st, 2024. She was 13 infant to die to the starvation in North Gaza.
A 4-year-old girl with beautiful curly hair was lovingly known as Dr. Nida by all who knew her. Her exceptional intelligence never failed to impress those around her. Filled with anticipation, she eagerly awaited her uncle's wedding and had even bought a white dress for the occasion. Unfortunately, the onset of the war resulted in the loss of everything. However, on March 9th, tragedy struck as her secure home was mercilessly bombarded by those rail occupation, claiming the lives of Nida, her father, siblings, and the rest of her family.
Israel assassinated Dr. Ayman Israel. He also appeared on Al Jazeera to provide February 2024, as he showed his brothers and neighbors searching for his body under the rubble with their bare hands.
Mahmoud Abu Tahir grew up in Jabila refugee camp. After high school, he went to trade school to help his family with expenses. He moved to Dubai for a year and a half, but returned due to his strong love for Gaza. He got married less than a year ago, but was unable to start a family he always dreamed of. As he was killed by Israeli missiles along with his wife and siblings.
Naha Abu Tama recently graduated from the Islamic University of Gaza, obtaining her bachelor's in English literature. She was displaced and had to live in the Amela school in Khan Yunis until Israel bombed the school, killing Naha and others. May she rest in paradise.
Dr. Mustafa al-Najjar survived 4 targeted Israeli airstrikes, but unfortunately was killed during the 5th. In his last video to the world, he said, "We have been defeated in front of the children. We are dying of hunger while the world's trash bins are overflowing with food. There's no justice except in heaven."
Shahid Mahmoud Sarhan was born on January 22nd, 2012. She was an intelligent and exceptional child, and she was loved by everyone. She excelled in school and was a calm and quiet girl. Shahid was killed on October 24th, 2023, after Israeli planes bombed the house of their neighbors in Khan Yunis camp. She was killed while having dinner. They found the spoon she was eating stained with blood beside her.
Iman Kamam was killed by an Israel airstrike while prostrating in prayer. Her mother writes, "My dear daughter, you are a candle that illuminated our lives with hope and happiness. You have been such a source of pride to us. We will preserve your beautiful legacy and promise you will remain alive in our thoughts and hearts forever."
The hero Dr. Hamad Zahir El Nuno refused to leave Al Shifa hospital in Gaza. He instead continued to treat other patients. Israel occupied forces executed him in front of his patients for his relief to abandon them.
Mohammed El Kahlout was the first member of his family to graduate college. He said it was the greatest accomplishment of his life. Mohammed will never be able to achieve his dreams because Israeli forces executed him while he was in line to get bread on November 21st, 2023.
Thank you, Aya, and thank you everyone who spoke today and shared those stories. Thank you all for joining us for this gathering today, so close to iftar time for those of you fasting and right after work and school for many of us. We know that you're probably tired and are ready to go home to your families. Thank you for recognizing that despite all of that, it is nothing in comparison to what our brothers and sisters in Gaza are facing right now. While today we gather to center Gaza, we stand here to remind each other that our struggle for freedom is larger than Gaza alone, and much longer than the last 184 days. We are fighting for a free Gaza, and we are fighting for a free Palestine. Yesterday, we received the news of the martyrdom of Walid Daqqa. After 38 years in Israeli prisons, Walid died due to medical neglect and never being allowed to see his only daughter, Milad. Tomorrow, we mark the anniversary of the Deir Yassin massacre, a targeted and horrific displacement of Palestinians in the village of Deir Yassin that is forever etched into the memories of our history. Deir Yassin marked the beginning of the Nakba, but our Nakba has never stopped. Many of those displaced in 1948 ended up relocating to Gaza, and now they have been displaced once again. The people of Gaza are now facing the modern-day Nakba, with death tolls surpassing that of the 1948, with over 35,000 lives brutally killed by Israel. As Palestinian Americans and supporters of Palestine, we have a duty towards the people of Gaza. Throughout Ramadan, the people of Gaza themselves urged us to refrain from posting our iftars and lavish gatherings. A simple ask in comparison to all that they are going through. It is on this same note that we invite you all to join us today in our collective statement, La Eid wa Gaza bala Eid. There is no Eid while Gaza has no Eid. Today we are distributing shirts to be worn to Eid prayer on Eid al-Fitr this year. We are not asking you to skip Eid prayer. We are not telling you not to spend time with your families. We need community now more than ever. We are asking that we all commit to dedicating Eid this year to being more cognizant and sensitive to the plight of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. who have been brutally attacked and massacred these past several months. Eid al-Fitr is not about outfits or presents. It's not about lavish festivities and consumerism. It's about reconnecting with God and about being in community for a higher purpose. Let's do that this year together with Gaza in mind. With that, we would also like to draw your attention to those who have rocks in their hands. We also have some on the tables for you. We are asking that everyone help us in building a memorial in honor of Gaza today. On these rocks, we want you to write the name of a martyr, draw a Palestinian symbol, or send a message to Gaza. We're standing here together on Palestine Way. This is our home away from home, and back home, they are suffering. However, they're not doing that quietly. We've chosen rocks specifically to build our memorial here for a reason. Israel can have all the funding, all the US weapons, and all the impunity in the world, but the people of Palestine exist. We all know and remember the iconic image of Israeli tank against a Palestinian child with nothing but a rock in hand. This rock represents who we are and the resilience that Palestinians have had for the past 76 years and beyond. Monday, April 7th marked 6 months of this ongoing genocide, and we have officially now reached half a year. While official statistics count the number of martyrs at 32,000 plus, we know this is likely to be so much higher. We also know how easy it is to get lost in the numbers, but listening to their stories today, their lived experiences, their deaths, all help to remind us of the important fact that they are more than just numbers. Every one of them had a name, had a family, had a life. Today, you've already heard some, and now we will continue to read just a few more of these stories of different martyrs that have been murdered this year alone, these 6 months alone, at the hands of the Israeli occupation forces. So now I'd like to ask a few more of our community members who are reading their statements. Thank you, and thank you all for coming.
Assalamu alaikum. Momin Lakin's passion in life was working out. He opened his very own gym, first gym in 2023. He also worked as a trainer and competed intentionally as a bodybuilder. His gym was destroyed by the hands of the Israel, and he was killed by an Israeli missile.
Abdullah Shir was always gifted. He graduated first class in his class in high school and also in a law school at the Islamic University right before the war began. Abdullah was killed by Israeli warplanes before we were able to see his capabilities as a lawyer. May he rest in paradise. Nida Muhammad al-Husseina was beloved by everyone. She was known for her lively spirit and humor. She had a talent for drawing and shared her artwork on her personal page. Nida was a student of pharmacy at Palestine University. Nida wore a necklace with her name on it throughout the war, and whenever someone asked her why she wore it, she would say, "So when I become a matre, they would recognize me by it." Indeed, Neda was recognized by her necklace. The Israeli occupation forces killed Neda along with her mother, older sister, and several other family members in heinous massacre near November 27th.
Badr Abhamad was killed while trying to save his pregnant wife's life. His wife is 9 months pregnant. He was
He was taking her to a safer place so she can give birth, but he was killed by the IOF. Now his wife is left alone to give birth and raise a child.
Now Palestinian artist Fethi Jaban passed away yesterday at the age of 77 at Shohada Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah while awaiting permission from Israel to leave Gaza to receive proper medical care. Fethi was born in 1947. His family was placed a year later in 1948 to Bad refugee camp. He lived and worked as an artist until his passing. His artwork will forever be a symbol of Palestinian resistance.
Apollo and his family were forcibly displaced during the Nakba of 1948, and he refused to allow it happen to him again. He remained steadfast in his home in Gaza after Israel soldiers tried to force him out. When he refused to leave, the IOF brutally beat him to death. Although he survived the first Nakba, he didn't survive this one.
Sama was the daughter of UNRWA photographer Hussein Jaber. He recalls attempting to flee to Gaza City on December 5th with his family when his sweet 4-year-old daughter Salma was shot in the neck by Israeli soldiers. She somehow kept running at the moment but died from her wounds moments later.
Thank you, Da. And you'll be hearing again from Da in just a few minutes. Thank you all. We want to remember that it's too easy to get lost in the numbers and become desensitized. This is one way that we can connect to the people of Gaza and honor them. We urge you every day, don't just lose who they are and their names and their lives and their faces in just numbers. We want to remember them and honor them. Please remember, if you haven't, to take your shirt, contribute to the Rock Memorial, register to vote, and we want to thank you again for joining us here. Now we will hear from some of our lead community organizers. We're first going to hear from Musa Naji, the Advocacy and Community Relations Coordinator of CARE New Jersey.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thank you all for coming out today, and thank you to PAC for organizing this event. As we approach the joyous occasion of Eid, we find ourselves grappling with conflicting emotions. Eid is a time of unity, a time of compassion and gratitude. It is a moment when we come together as a community, breaking our fast and sharing meals with loved ones. But this year, we must pause and reflect. We must acknowledge the pain and injustice faced by our brothers and sisters in Gaza. How are we supposed to come together as families and enjoy our meals when we know that 2 million Gazas are being starved by the Israeli Zionist regime? How are we supposed to enjoy Eid this year when we know the country that we live in is contributing and aiding the Israeli Zionist government by providing them with the military aid? Which is why CARE New Jersey has taken a bold step toward unifying the Muslim voice in our state. We recognize the strength that lies in our unity. We recognize the strength that lies in our collective action. Our unwavering commitment to justice and our shared values have initiated efforts to bring together our diverse communities and transcends backgrounds and cultural differences. Unity is not a word, it is a call to action. We invited every mosque, every Islamic center, and every community organization to join hands with us to stand united in amplifying our voices for justice, peace, and human rights. But unity alone is not enough. Harnessing our collective power and coming together as one Muslim voice meant making our position and demands clear to politicians. Our houses of worship and community centers are sacred spaces, and we will continue to elevate who gets to enjoy these spaces with us and enjoy our community. During Ramadan, Eid, masajid, and community centers receive numerous requests from elected officials and candidates to come to speak to the community or break bread with the community. But this year is different. Will you allow someone into your home who has ignored your calls and emails for the past 6 months, who have ignored your pleas for support, who have ignored every single request you have made to support your brothers and sisters in Palestine? Would you invite someone to your home who you know is providing aid to the criminal that's killing your brothers and sisters in Palestine? These are the questions that our masajid and our Muslim community centers are facing. These are the questions we have to tackle with as we're getting requests from politicians to speak out our houses of worship. We all saw the invitations to the White House that are being rejected by Muslims across the nation. Because we need to hold politicians accountable. We need to ensure that we are truly represented and supported, and we cannot continue to support if we're not receiving anything in return. A mere ceasefire is insufficient. We demand more. A ceasefire is the bare minimum. A ceasefire is what we requested 6 months ago. When funding to UNRWA got revoked, this is our demands. We need to reinstate funding to UNRWA. We need to ensure that aid is flowing out without any repercussion. We need to ensure that Palestine is recognized as a state. How is the only country to not recognize Palestine as a sovereign state? These are our demands. We demand that politicians advocate for the immediate reinsurance of humanitarian aid. We demand politicians advocate for people of Gaza to have access to clean water, access to medical supplies, basic necessities. We demand the reinstatement of funding to our demands. A ceasefire is the minimum. A ceasefire will 6 months. Stop asking the president for a ceasefire. Asking sisters not they really quit, they only support and fire us. Stand in words back. Notice violence. We need to know Gaza. Gaza.
Liberated Palestine. Justice, not justice. Terrorist sympathizer, say no. I sympathize with humanity and I sympathize with the people of Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Thank you, Zali. And thank you, BLM, for all your amazing work in our community and always showing up and always joining and leading in all of our movements. Now I would like to ask Rania Mustafa, our Executive Director, to join us for a statement on behalf of PAC.
On behalf of the Palestinian American Community Center and our supporting organizations that have joined us today, we stand in community to say, لا عيد وغزة بلا عيد. Say it with me. لا عيد وغزة بلا عيد. There is no Eid while Gaza has no Eid. Let's say it together. There is no Eid while Gaza has no Eid. Eid al-Fitr is just in a few days. Typically, this holiday is marked as one of the most festive times in Palestine and across the Muslim world. Unfortunately, however, Eid, as many other occasions in the last 6 months, have been overshadowed by the Israeli genocide across Palestine and in Gaza. As we go to the masjid for Eid Salah, as we spend time with our families during Eid, we want to be cognizant and remember the people of Gaza. This Eid, we ask that we all stand together in solidarity and support of our Palestinian brothers and sisters in Gaza. This year, the people of Gaza have taught us how to prioritize what our values are and how we should continue to speak up for justice no matter what. So spend this Eid al-Fitr in reflection, in community, in conversation, and in prayer. Let us pray for a better world for our children. Let us pray for a world free of oppression for all. Let us pray with them for a free Palestine. This Ramadan has been unlike any other. And as I've talked to many of our community members, we've all been struggling. We've been fasting with heavy hearts, knowing that our brothers and sisters in Gaza don't have anything to break their fast with. We know that they've been facing attacks and killings for even standing in line for bags of flour. And they've been targeting humanitarian aid workers, not just what's been recently publicized, but for the last 6 months. And throughout this genocide, every horrific act that has been committed by Israel is deliberate and intentional. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us where every day of Ramadan, we have felt it. We have felt it. We have felt it, and we will continue to stand with our brothers and sisters in Gaza. They have bombed our people. They have destroyed their homes. They have invaded and shot their residents. They have shot children in front of their parents. They have shot parents in front of their children. They have destroyed museums, places of worship, universities, hospitals, institutions. They have brutally murdered civilians, doctors, humanitarian aid workers. Israel is trying to erase Gaza and has created one of the worst humanitarian crises of our time. Since day one, and this is what's the most frustrating about it all, the Palestinian community has said Israel has had one goal in mind, which is the strategic ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. So we stand together to show them that no matter what they do, Palestinian resilience will continue and they will never, ever erase Palestine. As we organized for today's event, it brought back unfortunate memories from 2014 when we launched our first La Eid Bala Gaza campaign. Because this is not the first time that Palestinians have faced such an onslaught during what is supposed to be a happy time for our community. In the year 2014, Gaza faced a devastating attack that killed 2,500 Palestinians. This year, these last 6 months did not happen in view. This has been a culmination of decades of rampant Israeli terror. Enough is enough. Let's say it together. Enough is enough. The reality is our community has been forever changed by the last 6 months. As a community, we will never be able to go back to normal. Now is the time to stand unified for the Palestinian struggle. Now is the time to speak out against injustices in Palestine, in your community, and around the world. Now is the time for us to free ourselves from all of these distractions and focus on our collective liberation. We must make our demands loud and clear. We demand a permanent ceasefire. This is not a request. This is the bare minimum and not nearly enough. We demand an end to the daily Israeli massacres against our people. We demand an end to the daily aggressions against Palestinians across all of Palestine. We demand full access to the provisions of humanitarian assistance for our people in Gaza. We demand the release of all political prisoners. We demand a full stop to the illegal Israeli expansion settlement project. We demand that Israel be held accountable for their mounting war crimes and that the world hold them accountable to international law for all of their actions. We demand an end to the illegal and brutal Israeli occupation, not only in Gaza, but in the West Bank and in Jerusalem. We demand the right of return for all Palestinians to return to their homes. When our community stands together, we can do powerful things. And this is a reminder today, yesterday, every day the last 6 months, that when our community stands together, we can do powerful things. And inshallah, God willing, we will see a free Palestine within our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania, for that powerful message. As this genocide rages on, too many voices are trying to speak for or over Palestinians. PAC believes in amplifying Palestinian voices now more than ever. So I would like to ask for everyone's attention as I introduce our next speaker. Amjad Abu Quaik is a member of the South Patterson Business Association and owner of Patterson's own Shifa Pharmacy. Is lost to genocide in Gaza and has colleagues who witnessed firsthand the Shifa Hospital massacre. He will be joining us to share a few words.
Hello everyone, my name is Abu Quaik. I was born at one day Shifa Hospital. 2 years after God was taken over by and occupied by Israeli forces. Shifa Hospital, once the largest and coronal hospital in Gaza, was founded in 1986. That was Israel today, known as Palestine. And Shifa Hospital, my place of birth, now is an empty shell. The latest siege that took place, but for 2 weeks. As a result, Al Shifa Hospital has become a graveyard for hundreds of innocent families who were seeking shelter because their own home has been destroyed, because they themselves have been displaced. They thought they would be safe at Shifa Hospital. We know now more than 2 million Palestinians in Gaza are being displaced. But instead, Al Shifa Hospital has become a graveyard to patients, EMT, injured, doctors, health workers, healthcare providers, all indiscriminately were murdered. Obviously, no patient remained at Shifa Hospital. Most of the buildings are totally destroyed. Equipment such as and so on, what hospitals have intentionally been reduced to ashes. The WHO organization, the WHO team who was just visited the place where it used to be the hospital, said of the devastation has left the facility completely non-functional, further reducing access to life-saving healthcare in Gaza to almost nothing. The WHO team said restoring even minimal functionality in the short term seems impossible. It's impossible, and will require substantial effort to assess and clear the ground of unexploded ordnance to ensure the safety and accessibility of partners to bring in the equipment and supply to what used to be where the hospital used to be. As we approach the Eid, on behalf of South Patterson Business Association, we are expected to celebrate our completion of Ramadan. Yet, how can we do that when more than 34,000 of our own people have been murdered? Probably more than 20,000 or more are still under rubble. 75% of those are babies, children, and women. Their sole crime being Palestinian. Their sole crime, they were born in Gaza. The world expects us to continue business as usual despite the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. How can we return to the status quo? How can we get back to normality? We will not celebrate Eid. We're not going to be overly festive. Yes, we will go to prayer. Yes, we'll pray. But we'll pray for Gaza and pray for the Palestinian freedom. But we will not celebrate the Eid in our community. When there is no Eid in Palestine, there is no Eid in America. When there is no Eid for sure in Gaza, we will not celebrate Eid in our communities. We're here today in support of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, and to say that we condemn any attacks on Palestinians, no matter how big or small those attacks. We especially condemn these attacks when they happen while the Palestinians are observing a religious holiday like Ramadan and Eid. The video footages and photos of the violence that took place and the systemic killing of innocent Palestinians for the past 6 months have been a disturbing reminder of the dehumanization that Palestinians are constantly subjected to, especially in the month of Ramadan. As Dr. Paul Collar, a philosopher and thinker from Cambridge University, says, the horror that Israel is doing in Gaza, if Israel was a human being, Israel would be in a hospital, in a mental hospital. No one should have to live in fear for worshiping their religion or their existing on their own land. Although Israeli forces attack Palestinian worshippers annually in the month of Ramadan and have been carpet bombing Gaza for over a decade, and to many, this war was expected, we urge not only to our beloved community here in Patterson, New Jersey, but every community in America that cares about the humanity, because we as Americans have always had a moral responsibility to the world, to justice, to human rights and peace, as we must not normalize this violence against Palestinians. As Israel's violence escalates and gets more extreme, our anger and focalization against such incidents must get louder to our officials. We cannot let this ongoing crazy genocide be forgotten or normalized. We cannot allow ourselves to become desensitized to these incidents. Normalization and desensitization only further allow the terrorism and brutality that Israel escalates and enacts on Palestinians to continue. Normalization does not only look like deal brokered between governments officials, but also exist internally in our way of life, in the way that we do or do not respond to seeing Palestinian being beaten, attacked, harassed, and killed. We ask our community here and all the communities in America to always be angered by any attacks on Palestinian people and to continue to be upset by these attacks. Keep sharing the truth. I ask you all, guys, keep sharing the truth and our media. Keep sharing the truth about what's happening at Shifa, what happened at the Shifa hospital and the ongoing genocide of Gaza, whether on social media or throughout conversation with the people around us. And most importantly, with our government officials, who they should reconsider their position and keeping a blind eye on the crime committed by Israel. It is, in fact, the time has come a long time ago. It's time for our president, our government, our state and local officials to say and do what America truly stands for. That is human justice, human rights for all, because our people in Gaza, in Palestine, deserve much, much more. Because the people of Gaza are not different than all of us. Because the children, men, and women of Gaza, life is not less than those 7 heroes were killed by Israeli attack from the World Central Kitchen. As always, our hearts and minds are with the people of Palestine today and every day. We send our love and strength to them and to the youth, women, men, and women who constantly make us proud. Those people of Gaza really make us proud and inspire us in their fearless resistance to the ongoing genocide. Palestinians are just like you and me, have names, they have dreams, and they love to live and aspire. We appreciate your solidarity. We appreciate you guys being here today. And of course, free, free, free Palestine. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Thank you, Amjad Abu Quaik, for sharing those words and sharing your message with us. We are thinking of you and your family and your friends in Gaza. And I don't know a Palestinian from Gaza who has not been directly affected and lost multiple or even entire family members to the current genocide. But whether related or not, if you ask anyone here, they will tell you that all of Palestine is our family. Before I introduce our next speaker, I do want to remind everyone the shirts are available. People have been asking if they're done. They're not. You can go to the table. We do have shirts. We don't have shirts. Sorry. Okay, thank you all for taking your shirts, and thank you for participating and joining us today. Please remember that on Eid, on the second day of Eid, on the third day, wear your shirts. It's not just about a t-shirt, it's about making a statement and standing in solidarity with the people of Gaza. Now I would like to welcome our next speaker, Dua Abu Faris, a Palestinian American originally from Gaza. Dua's father was visiting family in Gaza when the genocide began and who's still there today.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dua Abu Faris. I am a college student who is studying psychology. I am a 24-year-old Palestinian American woman from Clifton. My father, a United States American citizen, is currently stuck in Gaza with the 2.2 million Palestinians who are undergoing a televised genocide. At the beginning of September, my father took some time off to spend time with family members in Gaza. He had planned to be back by October 20. Then everything changed. My father made the difficult decision of staying behind with his family, not accepting any assistance to try to get out. My father, who I have looked up to my entire life, has chosen not to leave because he believes, and I quote, "My life shouldn't be more valuable than a Palestinian's. just because I am an American citizen. I will not leave my own brothers, my own sisters, my own nieces and nephews, my mother to save my own life. If they die, I die with them. My family is distraught and very worried about my father and about my family and about the 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza who are being ethnically cleansed and are undergoing genocide. When he decided to stay back to support his family and keep them safe, my father had to find a way to help others as well. My dad risked his life to go between Deir Balah and Rafah, working in the organization here in Palestine. He worked on children, meals, and trusted some sort of fun days to give some sort of outlet to children who have been orphaned, displaced, starved, and targeted. When I can, I touch base with my father and tells me that this year in Gaza, Ramadan has not been the same. In Gaza, nothing is the same. So much has been destroyed. So many people have been displaced. So many alone survived of their families. In Ramadan, we typically fast from dawn to sunset. We increase in prayer and we spend time in community. In Gaza, it's hard to even find food. It's hard to pray. It's hard to do things that we normally do in Ramadan. And when you think it can't get any worse, the situation on the ground does get worse and it gets harder by the day. The reality is, and it's hard for me to really sit with this and even say it out loud, but my father, like the millions of Gaza, does not know if he's going to make it. Just last week, he sent me and my siblings a voice note saying that he loves us so much and is very proud of each of us. He shared with us the grim reality that he doesn't know if he's going to make it out. The indiscriminate bombing continues. The starvation continues. The snipers continue. And my father, my family, and the people of Gaza's suffering continues. My two aunts and their kids want to leave Gaza. On October 17, my aunt's husband, Wasim, and his entire family were killed by an Israeli airstrike that destroyed their home and left 5-year-old Danya and 3-year-old Maria fatherless. After that, they did not ask to leave, but now they are desperately looking for a way out. This is how I know things are getting worse than you and I can imagine. We are getting ready to end the month of Ramadan, and this has been one of the most difficult Ramadans of my life, knowing that what's going on in Gaza and having our father over there. They are being targeted or starved to death. They don't have food to break their iftar. To know my father is starving and we have food on our table is an unbearable thought. I see his videos. He has lost so much weight. The problem is for months I have been sharing what my father, and my family are going through, and yet nothing is changing. It's becoming the new normal for people, and this is not okay. Something needs to happen to stop this. When I check on my family, everyone is alive. But if you ask me, are they okay? I cannot answer that. They are not physically or mentally okay. They are starving, mentally exhausted, and traumatized. So this Eid, we ask that you remember the people of Gaza. Remember that this is not normal. This is not okay. This must stop. We need a permanent ceasefire. We need a free Palestine.
Thank you, Da'at, for sharing your story. For our final speaker today, before our prayers and du'as, We have asked Marwa to share her story. To protect her family and her identity, she asks that her last name not be disclosed. Marwa is an American citizen who moved to Gaza in 2019 after marrying her husband, who has been denied travel from Gaza by Israel. She came back to the US this summer to give birth to twins. Despite numerous attempts to evacuate her husband, he is still in Gaza. Marwa is now spending her first Eid with her twin daughters alone.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Marwa. I'm an American citizen, was born and raised in New Jersey. I got married in 2019 and I moved to Gaza to be with my husband. We built a life together there and furnished a home, and we were looking forward to building a beautiful family together. In January 23, we had gotten the news that we have one step closer to realizing our dreams. I was pregnant. Shortly thereafter, we learned that we were having twins. I have decided to come back to America to be with my family and give birth to the twins. The plan was that I would give birth, recover, and then I would head back to Gaza. But there's no home left there. Almost 4 years ago, soon after we got married, I started the application process for my husband to give him a green card. We had always hoped that by the time we welcome children to our world, he would be able to come to the U.S. He was given an interview appointment 3 times, but he was denied 3 times. The last interview appointment he had was supposed to be on October 5th, but everything changed after October 7th. On September 18, 2023, I gave birth to 2 beautiful twin girls, Miriam and Mayar. My husband was forced to miss out on the birth of his daughters, the firstborn child. My husband still has not been able to meet his daughters, and I do not know if he ever will. He and his family have been displaced from their homes multiple times. Our home, which I have poured so much love into, has been destroyed by Israel military airstrikes. And just like that, the life we had worked so hard to build together has been completely destroyed. And all that remains are the memories we made. I have had at least 120 family members brutally murdered by Israeli military airstrike and snipers. Every day I wake up with the fear that I will receive the message that my husband was next, and that my daughters lost their fathers forever. My 3 uncles were killed, and my sister fiance was killed. My young cousins are fatherless and orphaned. And the list goes on and on. Every direction I turn, I am met with a nightmare. Since the end of October, I have been working with the State of the Department, with Senator Cory Booker's office to get my husband out. The husband of an American citizen and father of 2 American citizens. Out of Gaza, it has been no avail. No matter how much we try, we cannot get his name on the evacuation list. I am and have been carrying the financial, emotional, and physical burden of raising 2 babies without my husband's presence. I am in desperate need of my husband's support and presence in my daughter's life. I go to sleep every night extremely worried about his well-being and well-being of my in-laws' family. They have all been displaced from their home multiple times. Sometimes I go weeks without knowing if my husband is dead or alive. I have been contacting everyone with a huge sense of urgency and despair in hopes that something can be done. Somehow, this nightmare can end. And by some miracle, my husband can be reunited with us. I want to end my story, though it's not unique. My story is one of many families that have been split apart because of the ongoing genocide. 35,000 people have been killed. This Ramadan has not been like any other Ramadan I have had before. This Eid will not feel like Eid. So I ask that you continue to advocate for permanent ceasefire, an end to the occupation, and an end to this genocide. I ask that you treat the Palestinian like any other human being and fight for their right to be with their families and loved ones. I ask that you see my husband and my children like you would see any other husband yearning to be with his family. Please bring my husband to us. We need him. La Eid wa Gaza bila Eid. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marwa. Thank you for coming here and for sharing those words with us and for bringing your beautiful daughters here. We know how difficult it was for you to do that. And this is just one story of many. Before we end with a final dua or prayer, I want to remind everyone to continue to speak up for Gaza and for Palestine in any way possible. This has been ongoing for 6 months. There are too many stories like Marwa's happening. We want to advocate for a ceasefire now and an end to the illegal occupation. We should not rest until we see a liberated Palestine. Now we'll be joining for a collective dua. We will be led by Mubin Ahmed of the Islamic Center of Passaic County.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. My name is Mubin. It's an honor to be here to make dua for our brothers and sisters. Did not expect this to be here to make dua, but may Allah accept from all of us. So there are many of us who speak Arabic, some of us don't speak Arabic. So some of it will be in Arabic, some of it will be in English. Afterwards, you can say Ameen and you can say Ya Allah. And please just join us to pray to Allah today. Ya Allah, Anta al-Rahman al-Rahim, Anta al-Malik al-Quddus al-Salam al-Mu'min, al-Muhaymin al-Aziz al-Jabbar al-Mutakabbir, Ya Rabb al-Alamin. لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد على إمام النبيين في أقصى صلى الله عليه وسلم. Ya Allah, tonight is the last night of the beloved month of Ramadan. It's a month of mercy, it's a month of Quran, it's a month we've worshipped you constantly throughout the month. Ya Rabb, Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah, you love to forgive. You are the most forgiving, so please forgive us. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinak. Oh Allah, you are the changer of hearts. Please keep us steadfast on your deen. Ya Rabb, the Ummah is awakened because of your servants in Gaza. Crowds of people are accepting Islam by seeing the faith and iman of your beloved people of Gaza and Palestine. Every single one of us who has been awakened and has prayed extra, every single person who has accepted Islam, please put it on the scale of those who are suffering in Gaza and Palestine. Ya Rabbal Alameen, we're one body. When one part hurts, the rest of us is in pain. We are Gaza and Gaza is us, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbal Alameen, please protect them from all harm and suffering. Ya Rabbal Alameen, they've suffered for so long under brutal occupation, for years and years and years. And today the world is seeing the way the situation is for what it is. Years ago, when they didn't know if they would succeed, when they didn't know Islam, they asked you for help and you helped them, Ya Rab. You sent your angels and you helped them, and you gave victory. Please give the same victory to the people of Palestine, to the people of Gaza. Ya Rabbal Alameen, we ask you, we beseech you to grant them victory and hope and justice and freedom and liberty. Ya Rabbal Alameen, please protect our mothers and our fathers and our children and our elders and our brothers and sisters in Gaza. Please, Ya Rabbal Alameen, heal all those who are injured. Accept the martyrs of the tens of thousands of your servants. Strengthen their hearts and grant them sakina for all that they have suffered. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Grant them true and divine justice in this world and the next. Protect all our women from the evil of the demonic occupation forces and their actions. Ya Rab, protect our men and give them the power and strength to shield their families. Protect our children from the horrors and cowardly brutalization by the occupation forces. We've seen videos upon videos, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and only you can provide the justice that no court in the world can ever provide. Ya Rab, you hate injustice, so remove it from your holy land. You hate oppression, so remove it from the holy land. يا رب المكة المكرمة والمدينة المنورة يا حرر أقصانا يا رب العالمين حرر أقصانا حرر أقصانا يا رب العالمين free أقصى mosque يا رب العالمين free it from oppression, free it from brutal occupation يا رب العالمين. I ask you, Ya Allah, to use us to eradicate the oppressors from that land. Use us to remove from power those who have enabled this oppression and this injustice on our brothers and sisters. Use us and don't replace us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Use us to help our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Share with us some of the honor of the Iman and Islam that you have bestowed upon the people of Palestine. They have been honored beyond belief, more than what we can even imagine. So please grant us the ability to share amongst that and help them, and for your sake alone. Grant us the same love of the Quran that they have for your book. Ya Rab, Gaza has awakened us for your sake. Don't ever, ever let us fall back into heedlessness. Ya Allah, grant the same freedom and justice we are asking for Gaza and Palestine, to Sudan, to Kashmir, to Congo, and to all the rest of the brothers and sisters in the world. Just like the honorable prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, peace be upon him, he said, "To you alone, Ya Rab, we complain of our anguish, to nobody else, only you. No human on earth can provide the justice and peace that you can. So please, Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are the answer of our dua. This is the last night of Ramadan. Please accept our dua. You alone have all the power. Nothing happens without your knowledge. La hawla wa la quwwata illa bika, Ya Rab. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وتقبل الله عبادتنا يا رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير. آمين آمين.
Thank you, Mubin, for that beautiful dua and prayer for it with us. I just want to make one quick announcement. On Sunday, April 14th at 9 a.m., there is going to be an action, hands off UNRWA and the forced starvation on Gaza's children. We want you to show up, show out, and tell Senator Gottheimer, hands off UNRWA. Congressman Gottheimer quietly spearheads a campaign calling to permanently defund UNRWA. He is being hosted by Morris Democrats for a breakfast fundraiser this Sunday. Gottheimer believes that it's time for UNRWA to disappear. This is a death sentence for 2.3 million starving, injured, and traumatized Palestinians in Gaza who rely on the critical aid that UNRWA provides. This was asked from a group for us to share, but we do urge everyone to attend. It's going to be, again, on April 14th at 9 a.m. In Morristown, New Jersey. Morristown Green, New Jersey. Thank you. Finally, if anyone who has their rock, so we've asked you all in the beginning to go on that table over there and design your rock. We asked you to write the name of a martyr, a symbol for Palestine, or a message for the people of Gaza. We'd like to use the sign right in front of Little Palestine to memorialize today. So if everyone who has a rock or designed one could get one. If you don't have one, please get one. And if we could ask that before you leave a rock there. This is a memorial to tribute the people of Gaza. Before you leave, we are also asking, where's Razan? Razan. If you find Razan, and she's going to come up to the front here, I'm going to have her come here. If you would like to record a message for the people of Gaza that we will share on Eid, we will be sending that out. And I know it sounds silly, like why do we need to post something? The people of Gaza are dealing with a lot worse. Well, actually, we've seen messages on social media from the people in Gaza when they said, we see what you are putting up, we see what you are sharing. When they asked us not to share iftars and parties, they also said, we appreciate and we see the solidarity coming out from the world, and we don't want you to stop speaking for Gaza. So we want to keep speaking. So if you can find Razan, if you want to record that with her. You want to raise your hand, Razan? Thank you. So if you find her after this, we will be able to share a message. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. La Eid wa Gaza bala Eid.